From a billion miles away, it glows like a golden jewel suspended in the velvet black of space, encircled by rings so luminous, so impossibly perfect, that astronomers once believed they were staring at the ears of God. It is serene. It is beautiful. It is a portrait painted by the cosmos itself, the crown jewel of our solar system, a planet so stunning that Galileo wept when he first glimpsed it through his crude telescope in 1610. But beauty in the cosmos is almost always a mask. Behind those shimmering rings, behind that golden haze, lies a world of annihilation. A planet where winds scream faster than the speed of sound, where storms swallow entire worlds, and where the rain is not water, but diamonds falling through an atmosphere so violent it would crush you into nothing before you ever touched the ground. This is Saturn, the deadly beauty with rings of death. To the casual observer, Saturn appears peaceful, a serene gas giant drifting lazily through the outer solar system, adorned with its famous rings like some celestial aristocrat. From Earth, it looks calm, quiet, almost inviting compared to the raging fury of Jupiter or the sulfuric hellscape of Venus. But Saturn is not calm. Saturn is a monster wrapped in silk, a nightmare disguised as a masterpiece. Beneath that tranquil golden atmosphere churns a fury so immense, so relentless, that it has been raging since before the first dinosaur drew breath on Earth. The rings themselves are perhaps the greatest deception of all. From our vantage point, they appear solid, elegant, timeless. But zoom in, and the horror reveals itself. Saturn's rings are a graveyard. They are composed of billions upon billions of fragments, chunks of ice, shattered rock, and pulverized debris, ranging from grains of sand to pieces the size of houses, all orbiting in a flat disk that stretches over 282,000 kilometers across, yet is astonishingly thin, sometimes no more than 10 meters from top to bottom. These are not decorations. They are the remains of something that died. Scientists believe the rings may be the shattered corpse of an ancient moon, torn apart by Saturn's merciless gravity in an act of cosmic murder. Others suggest they are the remnants of comets and asteroids that wandered too close, lured in by Saturn's gravitational embrace, only to be ripped apart and sentenced to orbit the very thing that destroyed them. Forever circling, forever trapped, a crime scene frozen in time. Imagine descending into Saturn's atmosphere. There is no solid surface to greet you, no ground to stand upon, only an endless plunge into deepening madness. The upper atmosphere is a freezing -178 degrees Celsius, cold enough to shatter steel. But as you fall, the temperature rises, the pressure builds. Within hours, you would be surrounded by clouds of ammonia and hydrogen sulfide, the stench of rotten eggs filling your lungs if the crushing pressure had not already collapsed them. Deeper still, the hydrogen around you begins to change, compressed so violently by the weight of the atmosphere above that it transforms into a liquid. You are no longer falling through gas. You are sinking through an ocean with no surface and no floor. An ocean of liquid hydrogen stretching thousands of kilometers deep. And then, deeper still, something impossible happens. The pressure reaches millions of times that of Earth's atmosphere, and the hydrogen is crushed into a state that does not exist naturally anywhere on our planet. Metallic hydrogen, a substance so dense, so alien, that it conducts electricity like copper and generates a magnetic field 578 times stronger than Earth's. At Saturn's core, if a core exists at all, temperatures may reach 11,700 degrees Celsius, hotter than the surface of the sun. Frozen outside, burning inside. A contradiction that defines this monstrous world. And yet, the violence does not end there. Saturn's atmosphere is home to a hexagonal storm at its north pole, a six-sided vortex spanning 30,000 kilometers across, large enough to swallow 4 Earths. This structure has persisted for decades, possibly centuries, and no one can fully explain why it takes this shape. Physics demands that storms be circular. Saturn defies physics. The hexagon rotates with a precision that seems almost engineered. Its walls of wind reaching speeds of 530 kilometers per hour, and within its eye, a smaller cyclone spins in eerie silence. A storm within a mystery. Saturn's family of moons is no less terrifying. It hosts at least 146 known satellites, a swarm of broken, battered worlds trapped in its gravitational grip. Titan, the largest, hides beneath an opaque orange atmosphere thicker than Earth's, a smog so dense that sunlight barely reaches its surface. Beneath that veil lies a frozen hellscape of methane lakes and ethane rivers, a world where it rains liquid natural gas and the temperature sits at -179 degrees Celsius. It is the only other body in our solar system with stable liquid on its surface, and some scientists whisper that life, alien and unrecognizable, might lurk in those hydrocarbon seas. Then there is Enceladus, a tiny ice-covered moon barely 500 kilometers across, which should be dead, frozen solid, inert. But Enceladus is not dead. In 2005, NASA's Cassini spacecraft witnessed something astonishing. Enormous geysers of water vapor and ice erupting from fractures near the moon's south pole, shooting hundreds of kilometers into space. Beneath Enceladus's frozen shell lies a global ocean of liquid water, kept warm by tidal forces that flex and heat the moon's interior. This ocean contains salt. It contains organic molecules. It contains the ingredients for life, locked beneath a tomb of ice on a moon orbiting a planet of death. Cassini itself became part of Saturn's story. Launched in 1997, it arrived at Saturn in 2004 and spent 13 years studying the planet, its rings, and its moons in unprecedented detail. It revealed the geysers of Enceladus, mapped the methane seas of Titan, and peered into the heart of the hexagonal storm. But on September 15th, 2017, with its fuel nearly spent, mission controllers made a deliberate choice. Rather than risk contaminating Enceladus or Titan with Earth's microbes, they aimed Cassini directly at Saturn. The spacecraft plunged into the atmosphere at over 113,000 kilometers per hour, transmitting data until the very last second. Within minutes, it was torn apart, vaporized, absorbed into the very world it had spent over a decade studying. A sacrifice, a burial. Saturn consumed the only emissary we ever sent. And perhaps most unsettling of all, Saturn's rings are dying. They are slowly being pulled inward, drawn into the planet by gravity and eroded by ultraviolet radiation, raining down onto Saturn in a phenomenon scientists call ring rain. At the current rate, the rings may vanish entirely within 100 to 300 million years. We are witnessing them in a cosmically brief window. A fleeting moment in a 4.5 billion year history. The rings that define Saturn, that make it the most recognizable planet in our solar system, are temporary. They were born from destruction, and they will end in oblivion. Saturn drifts on, 9.5 times farther from the Sun than Earth, completing one orbit every 29.4 years, spinning so fast that it completes a full rotation in just 10.7 hours, a speed that visibly flattens it at the poles. It is a world of impossible contradictions, beautiful and brutal, ancient and temporary, frozen and burning. We have sent one spacecraft. It was destroyed. We have gazed at those rings for 4 centuries and still cannot agree on when they formed. We know so little, and Saturn does not care. It will continue to spin in the outer dark long after our species has turned to dust, its rings slowly fading, its storms endlessly raging. A deadly beauty adorned in the shattered remains of everything that ever came too close.